You had a good faith belief in certain information, but you didn't know that Ken Paxton had disclosed anything to anyone when you made this report to the FBI, did you?
No.
You were hoping the FBI would sort it out for you and not think that you were co-conspirators with him, correct?
No. The purpose of the complaint to the FBI was because we had formed a belief in good faith that the Attorney General was involved in criminal activity.
This is something that I keep hearing over and over again. Let me make sure I get it right. Formed a good faith belief that the Attorney General of this state was engaged in illegal activity. Did I say that right?
That's accurate.
But you didn't know, right?
Well,
you didn't know, right?
That's the point of the good faith belief, is we had no evidence that we could point to, but we had reasonable conclusions that we could draw.
You went to the FBI and reported the Attorney General of this state with no evidence. Do I have that correct?
We reported the facts to the FBI.
That's not my question. You had no evidence that Ken Paxton had done anything illegal. Did you?
Your Honor, it's not necessary to yell at this witness. I suggest it's disrespectful, and I request he quit doing it.
I apologize. Let me do this again at a lower volume. Let me get this straight. You went to the FBI and reported him for potential crimes without any evidence. Do I have that correct?
We went to the FBI and reported
Please answer my question, yes or no.
our belief that criminal activity had occurred.
That was not my question.
Witness needs to answer the question, yes or no.
Should I ask it again, Mr. Vassar?
Please.
I want to get this straight. You went to the FBI on September 30th with your compatriots and reported the elected Attorney General of this state for a crime without any evidence. Yes?
That's right. We took no evidence.
Did you gain any after that? Did you gain any after that?
Well, we weren't collecting evidence.
Did you gain any after that?
Evidence of what, sir?
Evidence of a crime committed by the elected Attorney General in this state, elected by over 4 million voters. That guy.
I don't recall if we had collected any evidence.
If you thought the pathetically partisan lawfare against President Trump is a travesty, wait until you see what's happening in the state of Texas, and it has the same bad actors to boot. We're going to take a look at the impeachment trial for the Patriot Attorney General Ken Paxton, and we're going to find out once again why it is that the Republican Party establishment can be just as vile and vicious as Democrats, and why they are emphatically not our friends. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and betraying times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, and also make sure to share this video with friends and family. We are once again being suppressed by big tech, so I need your help to get the hopeful message of this channel out to as many people as possible. Senate Republicans in the state of Texas are placing one of their very own on trial. Attorney General Ken Paxton, perhaps the single most loyal pro-Trump Patriot Attorney General in the nation, is being accused of accepting bribes, fraud, dereliction of duty, and the like, accusations that just so happened to emerge right after Paxton started investigating the FBI for corruption. Remember, these people always practice projection. They always accuse others of the very corruption they practice. Sadly, the Texas Republican establishment has been hounding Paxton ever since he first won the Attorney General position several years back. And so, ironically, with the FBI's help, Paxton was impeached by the Texas House back in May. It was one of the most impulsive impeachments imaginable. As I understand, there was no investigation. There was no prerequisite impeachment inquiry, no evidence presented. It was clear retribution against Paxton by the Republican establishment that hates his MAGA brand of populism. And just to underscore this, when he was impeached, That was during a state legislative session where the Republican supermajority in Texas failed, I'm going to say that word again, failed to pass key legislative items like border security and school choice. Those failed that legislative session, but somehow, some way, enough Republicans came together with Texas Democrats to impeach Ken Paxton. That's how utterly disgusting this is from the get-go. Paxton is as MAGA as they come, and he did something that's absolutely unforgivable among Republican establishment in Texas. He defeated a Bush. In fact, he didn't just defeat George P. Bush for Attorney General in the Republican primary. He humiliated him. Paxton is very, very popular among Texans. He's a good, conservative Christian guy, and he stomped Bush, who challenged him for the nomination. I mean, Decision Desk called it 40 minutes after polls closed. So Paxton committed the unpardonable sin among the ruling elite in Texas. He politically killed off the last Bush in power in Texas. And so ever since, the whole Bush establishment, with Karl Rove right at the center, writing his pathetic donor-class drivel for the Wall Street Journal, all of them have had their knives out for Paxton. So, as you can see, they've trumped up all of these charges against him. But unfortunately for the prosecution, as you heard at the beginning of the video, evidence for such wrongdoing isn't just thin, it's actually non-existent. The beauty in all of this is that the whole state of Texas is seeing for themselves what a sham this whole thing is. And unfortunately, it's a bipartisan sham. It's a uniparty establishment sham. That's why you need to click on that link below right now and learn how to stick it to the establishment by using their own corruption against them. You know exactly what I'm talking about, gang. Companies like BlackRock, they've been bribing corrupt politicians like Nancy Pelosi with insider trading secrets for decades now. They know a whole host of trading secrets that gives them a totally unfair advantage when it comes to picking stocks. But did you know that thanks to a little-known SEC database, guess what? We can have access to those very secrets as well. We get to see what stocks these corporate CEOs are buying up in real time, and then we get to piggyback on their trades to gain the same advantage for ourselves that Pelosi and the crooks in D.C. have. My friend Ross Givens has been tracking insider trading for years, and his recommendations have led to investment returns of over 200%. Some have hit as high as nearly 1,500%, and now it's your turn. Click on that link below right now and learn how you too can learn to trade like Pelosi. Click on that link below and learn how to gain an insider advantage for yourself today. More and more pundits are coming out and stating the obvious. This case against Paxton is an absolute farce. It's a joke. They've got no case. As you heard at the very beginning, there's no evidence, none, zippo, for all of these accusations they're making against him. That impeachment by the Texas State House over Memorial Day weekend was based entirely on hearsay and innuendo. There wasn't a shred of actual evidence of any crime committed whatsoever by Paxton presented. And his attorneys all last week during the Senate trial put on a masterclass of deconstructing fake charges devoid of any semblance of evidence. So Paxton should be able to beat this. Apparently, he just needs 2 more Texas senators to vote to acquit, and he's good to go. He already has 8 of them lined up, apparently. But the fundamental question, really the outrage to all of this, is that you would think these were Democrats behaving like this weaponized lawfare, this Pelosi-style impulsive impeachment, charges without evidence. But these are Republicans. These are freaking Texas Republicans who, as it turns out, are as corrupt and compromised as any Democrat. Here's what Tucker recently had to say about their Republican governor, Greg Abbott.
How many Texans do you think are all on board with letting 7 million people cross into their state illegally? What percentage? Zero. I don't care what your race or national origin. Nobody is for that. That's insane. Has the governor of Texas done anything meaningful to stop that? No. The Republican governor? He's got a National Guard. He's the commander-in-chief of the National Guard, and it's Texas, so they're all large. And they have double-stack magazines in their sidearms. You think they couldn't stop that in a week if they... Of course. Just assemble along the border. We're not doing this. No, he refuses to do that. He won't do it. And it's not like no one suggested. I've suggested to him 3 times, including in private at a cocktail party in Dallas last year. What are you doing, man? Don't you have a National Guard? Why don't you seal the border? Oh, it's very complicated. No, it's not. No, it's not. If someone's trying to break into my house, it's not complicated to repel the person. Do you have a firearm or don't you? Are you willing to defend your house and your children, or aren't you? Well, it's more complicated. Really, tell me how. Speak slowly so I can understand. It's not more complicated than that. It's more dishonest than that. You're lying to me. You don't want to do it because your donors don't want you to do it. It's that simple. Greg Abbott. Liar. Liar. And worse than liar, betrayer of your own people. That's what that is.
There you have it, gang. I mean, I don't know any other way of making any sense of this whatsoever. I mean, if Attorney General Paxton is indeed guilty of bribery and fraud and the like, well, I'm certainly open to the evidence of it. It's just, again, it's a little thing called evidence that's lacking and lacking everywhere in these accusations. This is beyond disgusting. And if this is what Texas Republicans have become, then obviously we can see why the Texas nationalist movement that advocates Texit, which involves Texas seceding from the Union, is so popular, since so many apparently, quite rightly, see the whole system as incurably corrupt. It's time for a completely new start. It's time for the good people of Texas to start holding their Republican leadership accountable for their actions. It's time for all of us to do that. It's time for a new GOP, the grand old Patriot Party, and the final defeat of neocon rhinos everywhere. Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you, too, have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.